This life is a fight. What are you focused on? There will be doubt. Pain, it's inevitable. But when that bell rings, will you be ready? Welcome back to the Spit Bucket Podcast. This is episode 136. I am your host, JJ Solomon, and we got a lot to talk about today. So, just kind of give you the headlines. Obviously, we're going to cover the Teofimo Lopez, Rolly Romero. We got a new welterweight champion. We're going to hit the, obviously talk about the fight. We're going to talk about, did it meet expectations? But we're going to talk about the scorecards too. The scorecard's a little bit weird. And then that's going to lead us to some other scorecard conversation. We're going to have the judges conversation today because over the weekend, we saw some bad scoring, and I want to address it, and I want to talk about it, and I want to bring up the idea I had recently that I think fixes all scoring problems. It's a little unconventional, and we got to get out of our normal boxing brains, but I think you'll like what you hear. We're going to preview Moses Itauma, Filip Hrgovic this weekend. Huge fight. This means so much to boxing, and I'll get into why I believe it means so much to boxing. This is a lot more than just another heavyweight fight, guys. So we'll talk about its significance in a bit. And lastly, we are going to finish with an announcement of our next quarterly ticket giveaway. If you're new to the show, if this is your first time on, the Spit Bucket does quarterly ticket giveaways for our members, our Bucketheads, quarterly ticket giveaways. Basically pick a fight, put your name in a drawing, and we pick a winner. Every month that you're a member, so let's say, for example, you've been a member since July, right? You have your name in the bucket. So quarterly, theoretically, you should have 3 entries. Now, the second tier, the Buckethead Pros, those guys get 2 entries into the per month into the drawing. So after 3 months, after 1 quarter, you should have 6 entries. And then more importantly, Buckethead Pros get free merch. And here in a bit, by the end of this episode, when we announce where we're going, where our next fight giveaway is, that's going to be the merch drop. I'll show you the merch and we'll go from there. So I'll throw this up real quick. If you're not watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code and that'll take you straight to our memberships page. So if you're on X, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, if you're on iHeartRadio, any of those, just use the QR code or go to thespitbucket.com/memberships. Otherwise, just here on YouTube, you can sign up for membership right here. Let me make sure we're doing all the housekeeping before we dive into it. Obviously, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please like this stream. Like if you're watching right now, just move the chat box out of the way and hit like. You're doing me such a favor. Appreciate it. Shout out to Ramirez Boxing, our original Buckethead Pro. Buckethead Pro, who won our very first giveaway. What's up, Mike? And yeah, absolutely right. He was actually getting some content for me at the Amanda Serrano fight when we had a local Cinderella Lanier on the MVP card. Actually upset the I forgot her name. What's her name? Poca? Anyway, big boxer from Brazil or something like that who has the most TikTok followers. She was supposed to win. Girl from Arlington, Cinderella, reminded her that this ain't TikTok. This ain't TikTok. Shout out, Mike. What's going on, brother? All right, let's move right into this, guys. Moving right in. We got the housekeeping done. We got the reminders. Stay tuned for the end of the show. We're going to announce our next giveaway. But in the meantime, we're going to talk Tio Rolly. We're going to talk bad judges, and we're going to talk Moses Itauma's Filip Hrgovic. So let's jump right into this. Teofimo Lopez wins Rolly's WBA welterweight title. majority decision. That's what we're going to talk about here in a bit. Tim Cheatham, 116, 112. Max DeLuca, 115, 113. And Glenn Feldman, who's a relatively respected judge, scores at 114, 114. How'd you score it? If you're watching this, how'd you score it? Leave it in the chat because I'm interested to see what y'all had. I had this fight. Matter of fact, let me go back. This is matter. I'm gonna do a little a plug for my boy. Round by Round, the Round by Round boxing app. Y'all need to get it. It is dope. I'm literally pulling up my Rolly scorecard. You can keep all your scorecards on there. I had this 117, 111 for Teofimo Lopez. I gave rounds 1, 4, and obviously round 5 to Rolly. And that's it, man. And look, I was trying. I made a last minute swap of my pick. Last minute swap. I swapped it to Rolly by knockout, nonetheless. But it didn't happen. We got close in that 5th round. Thought it was going to happen, but he tapped the brakes, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about what we saw. First, let's shout out to Teofimo Lopez, man. Shout out to Teo. He's taken a lot of criticism in his career. A lot of it, I don't want to say deservingly so, but a lot of it's self-induced. A lot of the antics, a lot of the people he keeps around, a lot of some of the stuff he says. I don't like to get big into race talk, but bad taste in my mouth. That whole Crawford thing, the gorillas, the bananas thing. And if you're a Mexican guy saying, hey, JJ, but he talked about us, he told Crawford, or Crawford told him about burritos. Look, guys, it's a little bit different. Like, I promise you, you can ask my former partner, IOTBA, Corey. He was there. When I heard the burrito comment, I was literally eating a burrito. When Teo talks about bananas and gorillas and all that sort of deal, it's not just a damn it, I'm using the word. It's not just a stereotype anymore. You're comparing a group of humans to animals. That's different. Stereotypes is Mexicans eat burritos. Cool. We eat burritos. Kind of can be taken out of context or whatever. Sure, it's got elements of racism, but man, it's a completely different ballgame, in my opinion, to compare humans to animals. And that's why I was big on, man, this Teo banter is not cool. This is crossing the line a bit. But look, seems like everybody's put it behind them. It is what it is. Boxing moves on. Ramirez had that fight 10-2, 118, 110 for Teo, and I can see that. That first round was kind of a toss-up for me, but I think since I had picked Rolly to win, maybe I gave him that round. But yeah, getting back into Teo, man, I wouldn't say like Teo, shocked the world. I wouldn't say that Teo had his career performance. It wasn't quite what Shakur did, the Teo type masterclass. And I'll kind of break down a few things I saw, but I think we saw a mature Teofimo. I think we saw a Teofimo who was committed to the game plan. And he was there for what Rolly gave him. The jabs were real. Shout out to P4P Boxing. Eric was actually working the event for me and actually asked Teofimo Sr. if the stab jab to the belly was part of the game plan. We saw it. That stab jab to the belly kept Rolly off of Teo the whole night. Like Rolly had nothing for that stab jab. He had nothing for the body work. A point I'm going to make on the body work, though. We saw that left side starting to look red from Rolly. I made a note of it. When I noticed that, I was like, whoa, but I rewinded it because it went from like regular to red like this. And it was when Teo first got busted up. He wiped his face a couple of times, and then he started throwing the shots. Now, they were landing, don't get me wrong. Obviously, they were landing because it was transferring to blood. But that red wasn't necessarily red from taking the pounding. It was red from the blood being transferred from Teo's face on the glove to the body. You can see it. I'm not making it up. If you watch it over again, the red on the body was kind of a narrative that wasn't necessarily true. With that said, though, Teo's body work was tremendous. I think that stab jab was working. I have notes here. Teofimo outlanded Rolly 124-73 overall. I don't even know where the hell those 73 shots came from. But, outside of that moment in the 5th round, and then I believe it happened again at the very end of the 8th round where Rolly, he landed and it was the last second of the round, and Teo had the full 60 seconds to recover, and he did. Um, so I don't know that Teo's performance was spectacular, but he did just what he needed to do. He did in there with he went in there against a familiar opponent, an opponent who we know is super powerful, has super heavy hands, and Teofimo Lopez managed to. And what's crazy to me is Teo was pressing the fight. That was crazy to me to see Rolly moving that much. And I get it. I'm about to break down Rolly's performance a little bit, but Teo was in there acting like the bigger man, acting like the guy who could knock out, who could land the finishing shot, the one punch knockout. And Rolly was sitting around waiting for a counterpunch. If you're a man like Rolly who doesn't have a ton of tools and started in the sport late, I get it. Not a bad game plan. Another thing I really liked about Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him in there in wars. We've seen him exchanging. We've seen him being athletic and relying on athleticism. But the most important thing I took from this, and I talk about it a lot, is how a fighter handles adversity. I was really curious this fight, how Teo handled the adversity after the 5th round, and more importantly, how his corner handled the adversity. I think they did well. I think they passed with flying colors. I still think there was too much noise in Teo's corner, but I think there were still instructions. They didn't necessarily need a plan B like they did against Shakur, because what they were doing was working. The one thing that I don't think was working, the one thing I think he could improve on is, again, I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking a great performance, right? But that left hook from Rolly was live the whole night. Rolly didn't know what the hell he was doing with it. Wasn't trying to necessarily set it up, but it was touching Teo. Obviously the big shot, but just touching the body, And I think Teo could have done more with Rolly's left hook, especially because Rolly wasn't doing anything. There's a way where you can duck out of that and make somebody like Rolly pay, who doesn't necessarily have that experience. There's a way you can pivot out of the way and make him pay. And I didn't see that from Rolly. And I'll give you an example. Inoue Ramon Cardenas. Obviously, Inoue got tagged, got dropped. The rest of the fight, that left hook wasn't even mentioned again. It wasn't a thing. Inoue kept his aggression. He kept scoring points. He got the knockout, but a small shift in his strategy ultimately ended the threat of the left hook. And I would have liked to see that from Teofimo, especially, like I said, he's not a natural welterweight. He looked comfortable in there. He looked comfortable at the weight, but especially because you put him in there against Ryan, you put him in there against Devin, you put him in there against some of the other welterweights, he's going to be a smaller guy. He cuts up easily. That's going to be a talking point for the rest of his career, especially in the bigger weights. He cuts up that face. A shout out to Breadman. I had Breadman on the show. Y'all check out the episode, or at least check out the 5-minute Teo Rolly breakdown we had. And he mentioned he actually picked Rolly, and he kind of helped influence me to pick Rolly. He mentioned Rolly's jab. Rolly's jab really wasn't there that night. But he did mention Teo's face getting cut up and busted up and swollen a lot. And yeah, you can say Teo dodged the bullet, but what happens next time? What happens when the cut gets targeted and it's constant jab to the cut? What happens when his face starts getting swollen? So there needs to be something there where Teo's talking about, yeah, we got the win. We didn't necessarily need to do more, but I need to protect this. I don't need to be taking shots. And he wasn't getting a hit a lot to the face. He did get some big shots, and it was a concern the whole night. For the whole 12 rounds, despite Rolly not doing anything, we all thought that at any moment it could land. And I don't think Teo necessarily did much to take it away besides Rolly taking it away himself, if that makes sense. But just being there, man, like, he could have made Rolly miss quite a bit. And that does so much to your opponent. It's almost like a body shot when you make a miss, especially when Rolly's loading up that left hook, or especially when that's all he wants to land the whole night. So I think there was a way where Teo could have avoided it or made that left hook a non-factor. and then really done what he wanted to do. Instead, he left that left hook there as a live weapon the whole night. But shout out to T.O., shout out to the team. New world champ, and the future's wide open, dude. Like they're targeting Ryan, the winner of Ryan Conor Ben. If that fight goes the way a lot of us think it's going to go with Ryan winning, Teofimo versus Ryan Garcia, that fight's going to do numbers. Me personally, I want to see Ryan versus Devin Haney. But hey, what do you do? What do you do? While we're at it, my condolences to Devin Haney, to Bill, to the entire team, to Sean, all those guys. His mother passed away, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because boxing's gonna boxing, and boxing's gonna box, and the narratives are ridiculous, and the conversations about Devin Haney, Tank, and the mom is ridiculous. Devin Haney, my condolences. Praying for you, brother. It's always got to be difficult, man, losing a parent. So I want to make sure I mention that. So yeah, man, Teofimo Lopez looked good. I wouldn't say here's the thing. And everybody said this, right? And everybody's like, look, what has Rolly done, really, right? Not who has Rolly fought, but how has Rolly looked against who Rolly has fought. And with the exception of the Ryan Garcia fight, you know, I said it in my last episode when I picked Rolly. I've never picked Rolly in a major fight. At the end of the day, in my Denny Green voice, R.I.P. Denny Green, Rolly was who we thought he was. You know, there was moments here where he looked decent against Tank, and yeah, he may have been beating Tank, depending on what you like, what you don't like. He beat Ryan. We know something was weird about Ryan. I'm not gonna get into that, but it wasn't like Ryan was boxing his ass off and Rolly just figured him out, right? But there's the Barroso fight, obviously the Pitbull Cruz fight, the Tank Davis fight. Like, I think maybe we got carried away with Ismael Salas, the Ryan Garcia win. And look, I'm just talking about boxing ability because I think the world of Rolly and where he is mentally, I know people might question that, but Rolly's a unique case. And I think Rolly is happy with who he is inside. And I'm happy for Rolly on those regards. But at the end of the day, Rolly's just who we thought we were. He was somebody who got started late, somebody who's got athleticism, somebody who is strong as hell and likes to fight. But when you put him in there against somebody who knows the X's and O's of boxing, it's going to be a rough night for him. I mentioned Rolly's game plan. I mean, it wasn't a bad game plan, you know, but it was way too much moving and not enough offense. And he was saying at the end of the fight in the press conference, which we have it on the Spit Bucket. If you go and check out the Spit Bucket T.O. Rolly presser, post-fight presser, y'all check it out. But Rolly was pissed and saying that he got robbed. And I just don't believe that. I'm not going to believe that. Because while you can say T.O. wasn't landing anything clean or anything, well, Rolly, neither were you. T.O. was trying. The object of boxing, yeah, there's the not get hit part. That's the objective, not get hit. But you didn't do much hitting, dog. There's a lot of people who can go in there against a dangerous opponent, use the entire ring, and stay on their bicycle, and be just dangerous enough to keep them off and go 12 rounds and not get touched much. But you're not going to get the love of the judges, dude. You got some Glenn Feldman love, but you're not generally going to get the love of the judges. I wish there would have been more. I'm not going to accuse Rolly of this, but I couldn't help but think in this fight, look, those guys are friends. Those guys came up together. Those guys have a lot of love for each other. Sprinkle that in with Rolly Romero finding Jesus, the real Jesus, like finding Christ in his life, the way I wish we all would, because I believe that about Rolly for sure. And sometimes, I don't want to get all churchy on y'all, but sometimes when you accept Christ like that and the Holy Spirit starts working in your life, the things that used to motivate you before don't necessarily motivate you anymore. And when I saw Rolly looking at a damaged T.O. and a T.O. that was almost out of there in that 5th round, it almost seemed like something clicked. The violence wasn't what he wanted. His friend who he loves, who he said multiple times, I love Teofimo, I love T.O. He loves that guy. He couldn't beat him up. I can see that. So if you want to say Teo's body work and the stab jab and all that slowed him down, I'm totally down for that. But in this case, I don't like playing these silly games like what if, or was he trying to lose or whatever. I don't like playing those games. But Rolly is a unique case. Everything about him is unique. And I think that we saw the uniqueness come out. I think we saw a man who's got a soft spot in his heart because he's been softened over the years through what he's going through. And beating up his friend necessarily wasn't at the top of the list, man. Rolly understands that he's made a lot of money, more than anybody ever imagined he'd make. He's got the belts now, and not a Hall of Famer. You know, this isn't just about playing the game and see how many belts you can collect if you can strategically navigate through the boxing world. At the end of the day, I believe the Hall of Fame voters are Hall of Fame voters for a reason. And, you know, while we can question some decisions, there's no way Rolly Romero gets in the Hall of Fame just because, you know, he's collected some straps because of politics or particular movement. I just could have seen more, man. I just wanted to see more. And I think if we would have seen more, we would have seen Teo, because like I said, he didn't effectively eliminate that hook. So if Rolly would have done a better job of trying to set it up, or anything for that matter, it could have looked a little bit different. Hell, look at them scorecards. He was a round away from, what was his? Yeah, had he won a round, or had that fifth round been a 10-8 round, no, that would have just been 114, 113. But like, had he won a round more, that fight would have been a draw. Because you would have seen 115, 113 from Tim Cheatham. You would have seen 114, 114 from Max DeLuca. And Glenn Feldman would have had that fight for Rolly with one more round to one. So you had a draw and the titles wouldn't have changed hands. I wouldn't have agreed with that for one damn bit, but I'm just saying. Rolly had it there. He had the opportunity, and he blew it. He blew it. I don't think he wanted to close the show. I just don't think he had it in him, man. I don't think he had it in him. I'm checking my notes, making sure. Yep. I'm making sure I didn't have anything else. Yeah, I wanted to mention, I kind of jumped the gun, but I did want to talk about Teofimo's resilience, man, and how he worked through that adversity. But we just have to ask ourselves, what happens when Teo sees that adversity and the guy across the ring from him is somebody who knows how to close, somebody who knows how to do what they're supposed to do when you have your man on the ropes? So yeah. Did this fight help Teofimo after Shakur? I did have that. Look, you can't take away what Teo's done. The Lomachenko fight, the Josh Taylor fight, now the Rolly Romero fight, 3-division champ. But he's put up some stinkers. Obviously, the Kambosos fight, the Sandor Martin fight. I don't want to call Shakur a stinker because, like I said on the last episode, Shakur Stevenson, he's an asterisk, guys. When you go down to Teo's resume, you go, yeah, but that's Shakur. You know, that's why Shakur didn't lose a round, because he's Shakur. So I don't think the Teofimo fight against Shakur damaged him that much because, like I said, it's Shakur. We saw the issues in the corner. That probably hurt him more than his fight because we all saw there was no backup plan. Coaching is important. Training is important. Corner work is important. And it was non-existent in that fight. So this fight the Shakur fight didn't hurt Teo as much as I'd like to say it did, or the public says it does. I think what helped Teofimo more than what happened in the ring was how he carried himself throughout fight week. A mature Teo, a focused Teo listening to the questions, answering the questions. Yeah, he still sprinkled him some dance moves. He still did backflips, but it was just a more mature Teofimo. And I think that helped his image. I think that it's going to help his opportunities a lot more going forward. He looks like a businessman. He held his dad accountable. He said, look, man, this is your chance. I'm being held to the fire as the takeover. This is my last chance. Well, this is your chance to prove that you deserve to work my corner. So I'll take it. How long have I been? Geez, I've already been going for 24 minutes. Didn't mean to talk too much on that. So look, what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to kind of mix this in because that 114 card from Glenn Feldman, I don't see how you score at 114. Like I said, I was kind of trying to be lenient for Rolly a little bit. I wasn't trying, but I think mentally and subconsciously, I was kind of pulling for Rolly because that's who I picked, and I like to be right. I see CBS had an unofficial card, 119, 109 is what I put here in the notes. I know the cards were pretty wide. Like the unofficial cards, I forgot what Mannix had. I think he only had 3 rounds for Rolly. But 114, 114, I just don't see how you find 6 rounds for Rolly Romero. And that's going right to my next segment. Judging. What the hell is going on with judging, man? I'm going to lead with the Carlos Ultria versus Israel Mercado fight. That fight, Mercado was the underdog, big underdog. Carlos is moving right along. He's a powerful guy. He's a banger. Split decision, right? I'll read the scorecards. 97-93 for Ultria, 96-94 for Ultria, and 96-94 for Mercado. I read that wrong. I wanted to read 97-93 last. But guys, this has to be. If you didn't watch this fight, it was the opener for the Teo fight. Just go back and watch it. It was an entertaining fight too, so you're not going to completely waste time. 97-93 submitted by Patricia Morris-Jarman. She found 7 rounds to give Carlos Ultria. How? I don't understand it, man. I do not understand it. Let me see which notes I had on here. Yep. Mercado finished strong. Yep. Yeah. So again, I wanted just to hit on that fight because there's other fights we're going to talk about. The fun fact about Patricia Morris-Jarman, just a few weeks ago, not months, not years, the Raul Guriel Quentin Randall fight. She scored that fight 100-90. Guriel won that fight, don't get me wrong, but 100-90. The other cards on there were 97-93 for Guriel and 95-95 draw. And she turned in 10 rounds to 0. That fight card was, or that judge's card was filled out before the bell rang. 0 accountability. She'll probably get another fight. How does one trained professional judge see 5 whole rounds to give a fighter, and his counterpart doesn't see a single 3-minute round to give to an opponent? She gave 10 rounds to Quentin. Let's keep it moving from this weekend. That was from a few weeks ago, but that was important to note because that was the same judge who submitted the 97-93 score for Ultria. Now, what else do I have on here? Yo-Yo Inley Hernandez, Francisco Veron, 99-91, 98-92 from first 2 judges, David Sutherland and Eric Cheek. Steve Weisfeld, who was a respected judge, very respected judge, had that fight a 95-95 draw. Go back, watch the Yo-Yo fight, and tell me how you find 5 rounds to give to Veron. I do not see them. 0 accountability. Where else we have here? And then, of course, the big Amanda Serrano, Lucretia Manzor fight. I touched on this briefly on Saturday when we did our fight picks. But 116-112 Serrano, 116-112 Serrano, and 114-114 draw. Guys, I was trying to be nice. I was trying to find rounds because I knew the judges weren't going to be extra critical against Serrano. So I wanted my scores to look something like what the real scores are going to look. So I was being a little extra lenient, and my scorecard was 114 a draw, with me being lenient. I'm not saying I know everything and y'all's scores better match my scores, but tell me how you find 8 rounds for Amanda Serrano. I do not see it, and I mean that respectfully because she has done so much for boxing, but in that same sentence, doing so much for boxing, you cannot consciously steal from your opponent. Put that loss on a record that she may not have deserved. Yeah, you're giving her an opportunity for a big payday, but now you're making her start over on the rankings. She should be champ. in my opinion. Because like I said, I may have been a little nice with Serrano. But 116, 112, guys, I don't get it. I do not understand it. Let me see what I have here. I will say Serrano adjusted well. Serrano looked fantastic in the second half of the fight when her ass was on the line and her belts were on the line. But let's see. Let's see. The WBA score analysis showed that all three judges agreed Serrano won 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. While the three agreed Monzur won 2, 4, and 5. The disagreement came 1, 6, and 7. Yeah, so looking at the first half of the fight, I'm pretty sure, God, I didn't put up the scorecards here. Anyway, it's an issue, guys. Why aren't we holding these judges accountable? Look, I'm going to spend 3 minutes talking about how I think this fixes, how we fix bad scores. And I hope somebody's listening. We have a 10-point must system. Why are we only using 10, 9, and 8? And then every now and then 7. There's 10 whole points. Follow me here. Let's change the standard. Let's change the metric. Let's change all of it. Let's change the method. 10, no more 10-10 rounds, ever. You have to pick a winner of the round. A 10-9 round is a swing round. Tough round to score, depends where you're sitting, depends what you like, period. Guys, there's always rounds in fights where everybody sees the same thing. I am one that does not believe a close 10-9 round. Why do we have to have the same score for a razor close round than a dominant round? That fighter that did the dominating should be rewarded for doing better than edging out a close round. So follow me. 10-9 rounds for swing rounds. Judges score 10-9. Either way, no big deal. 10-8 rounds for dominant rounds. 10-8 rounds for dominant rounds. You don't need a drop. You don't need a knockdown. You don't need to have your guys just completely wobbled on the ropes and where the ref's about to. I mean, a round where you won and it was easy to see and everybody in the arena can go, yeah, red corner won that round. Those rounds, 10-8 rounds. You get it. You score a knockdown, 10-7. But we need to be seeing more 10-8 rounds because in a lot of these cases, fighter A is dominating and he's getting 1 point for a dominating round. How do we enforce this, you ask? Easy. Let's treat these officiating crews like the NFL does, the NBA does, Major League Baseball does. Let's hold them accountable as a crew. Look, if there's 2 10-8 scores for fighter A, but the third judge scores a 10-9 for fighter B, then there needs to be accountability. Every time it happens. Even if the right guy wins, there needs to be accountability on these scores, because if we expect these fighters to be focused and laser sharp, laser focused for 3 minutes at a time for 12 rounds of fight, then the judges should be that focused too. I don't want to sit here and talk about age discrimination, but you know what happens when you get old? You get sleepy, especially at the time those fights are. This is not me being funny. Old people get sleepy. There are judges there that have been judging longer than I've been alive. So maybe we should look at that. We should look at the age of these judges. We should assess their work and hold them to the fire. And look, if 2 judges score a 10-8 round, which is a dominant round, and the entire arena knows it, and this third judge scores a 10-9 for somebody else, either you hold the whole crew accountable for that round with a small fine. If it happens again, a suspension. But they need to know that something is on the line. And if you're not going to talk to media, so be it. But just know we're watching your work. And guys, that would end draws. That would end everything. You know, the only time we're going to see draw is a true competitive fight where not a single round was clear for any fighter and every round was a swing round. Then we're going to see 10-9s, 10-9, 9-10 out the door all day. And that's what should be. But if you see a fight where it's just, and I'm just trying to give an example where it wasn't a brutal ass whooping, Canelo Mayweather. You know, Mayweather was winning those rounds easy. Nobody would argue. Make those rounds 10-8. Then you won't get that shitty third card where, was it a draw? I think that was a draw on those three scored for Mayweather Canelo. It fixes so much just by a quick adjustment. 10-8 rounds. Let's do more 10-8 rounds. Leave the 7 for the knockdown. That's a big deal. You got a knockdown. 10-6 if you got 2 knockdowns. We have 10 points. If your first reaction is, that's stupid, JJ, how are we going to have a scorecard that's 120 to, what would that be? Another 12 off of that. 120 to 96. Well, that's an ass whooping. That's a dominant win. We have 10 points to mess with. Why are we only using 2 of them? Let's just have a 4-point must system then, or a 3-point must system. But we have 10. We can easily make an adjustment and fix a major problem in boxing. Shout out to my cousin Chico Cavazos. He's the one that came up with that. That's his brain power, love of the sport, and it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Shout out to Mike. Had a 7-5, 115, 113 Serrano. I dig it, man. I had a hard time finding Serrano rounds, but you were there in person, so I ain't going to argue that. All right, let's keep it moving, guys. Matter of fact, actually, I'm going to hit a quick commercial. We're going to come back, talk some Moses Itauma, and then we're going to talk about the giveaway. Life can hit hard sometimes. Look, maybe you've fallen behind on house payment. Maybe repairs are piling up. Maybe you inherited a house you don't even know what to do with. Or maybe you're just overwhelmed and you just need a fresh start. That's why I want to tell you guys about No Worries Home Sale. My buddy Trevor and his team help homeowners all over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex sell their houses fast without all the stress and pressure. They buy houses as is. So there's no fixing things, no cleaning things out, no realtor commissions, and no waiting around for months just to hope the house sells. And more than anything, they try to treat people the right way and make the process feel easy during what's usually a really stressful situation. So if you need to sell a house fast for cash, call or text 817-668-5788. Tell them the Spit Bucket sent you, or go directly to noworrieshomesale.com. That's noworrieshomesale.com. Yo. Shout out to noworrieshomesale.com or No Worries Home Sale. Seriously, guys, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. A lot of people don't realize that they can do something about their bad situation. Like, you look at your house, wherever it's in shambles, and there are people, Trevor's one of them. Trevor's a great one, and he's one of the best in DFW, that will go take your house off your hands and give you fat cash to do it. They'll fix your house, and they'll take care of the hard part from there. You'll get your cash and walk out. So if you need that and need a fresh start, reach out to Trev. No Worries Home Sale. Let them know Spit Bucket sent you. All right, moving right along, guys. Moving right along. Before we announce our big announcement, our big fight giveaway, big fight coming up this weekend. There's a lot of big fights, and I'm going to get into them later this week, but I wanted to talk about Itauma. There's a great pro box card. Michaela Mayer back in action against Chantel Cameron. And, geez, I'm having brain fart after brain fart over here. Anyway, a lot of action this weekend. Oh, and Caroline Dubois defending against Amelia Moore, who was a former guest on our show. You know, anytime there's a guest here, going to be a little bit extra love. So I'm pulling for Amelia. It's going to be, you got a hard road ahead of you, but I want to see the American and the friend of the Spit Bucket look good this weekend. But no, we'll cover the rest of the fights. Just want to get into Moses Itauma, Filip Hrgovic. Huge step up fight for Itauma. I don't know that we've ever seen somebody step up at this rate. Filip Hrgovic is a real contender, a real guy who's been in there with some real names and beat some real names. But just some fun facts that I want to make sure I mention. Look, the youngest heavyweight champ in the history of boxing, 20-year-old Mike Tyson, right? You'd think, man, he got rushed right into there. No, Mike Tyson had 74 professional rounds before his first title opportunity. Muhammad Ali, the greatest, 101 professional heavyweight rounds before his first title opportunity. Moses Itauma, guys, he's sitting at 31 rounds, and he's about to fight for the heavyweight strap, the World Heavyweight Championship of the world, the IBF version of it. So we have the IBF belt on the line after 31 professional rounds. This man is 21 years old. I think the world of Moses Itauma. And here's why I'm excited, dude. Hold on, let me hit a couple of the talking points that I made notes on. Yeah, Moses Itauma, 14-0, 12 knockouts. And Jesus, man, 21 years old. 21 years old. He's a southpaw. And the fun thing about Itauma, what I like about him, and this is gonna sound like a knock on Mike Tyson, and it isn't. Hey, what up, Lukey? Shout out to Lukey, man, chiming in. Time of fights on pay-per-view. What happened to the zone? No more pay-per-view. That's an old campaign, bro. It's all about that ultimate plan now. Go get that ultimate plan. You won't ever have to pay another $1 again. That's a giveaway I should do around Christmas time. An ultimate plan for a listener. But anyway, he's always getting compared to Mike Tyson, and it's just because of his age, man. It's just because of his age, because there's nothing else there that looks similar, from their style to their stance to their sizes to. But the biggest differentiator to me, what Moses Itauma's already done, it doesn't come in the form of fear. And I'm not saying Mike Tyson only won his fights because of fear. Mike Tyson's insane skill set created fear, and that fear was a big part of 90% of those early opponents. They were checked out before the fight started. If not checked out, they were terrified. Moses Itauma doesn't necessarily have that. Hey, shout out to Juan Pena 7291. We got a brand new member, and I'm about to tell you why this is a great thing for you. We're about to do our giveaway here in a bit. So much shout out to Juan Pena becoming a new Buckethead. Really appreciate that. With Moses Itauma, it's not a fear-based ass whooping. Jermaine Franklin thought he's going to go in there and beat the kid up. And I'm sure Filip Hrgovic thinks that this weekend. I believe that if Hrgovic and Jermaine Franklin and all these guys were fighting 1989 version of Mike Tyson, that fear would have crept in their mind because of what the narrative, right? That monster. Moses Itauma is kind of a relatively nice guy. Young guy, still kind of has a baby face look. And it's just not fear-inducing. Now, if you spend a lot of time watching this fight, sure, you might be like, oh, shit, I need to take it serious. But he doesn't carry that aura that Mike Tyson had that absolutely crippled his opponent. He got in the ring there with Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas had just lost his mama. What hurts more than losing your mama? Definitely not a Mike Tyson shot. He was fearless. And we saw him paint the blueprint on how to beat Mike Tyson. Use your jab, use your distance, and don't be scared. So if you got rid of that fear piece, I think you could have done a bit better job against Tyson. Donovan Razor Reddick looked good against Tyson. But there was an element of fear. If you watch those pressers and those interviews before, I don't know how you get through a Tyson event without feeling fear. He's a monster. With Moses Itauma, it's straight skills, it's speed, it's power, it's IQ, it's foot placement, it's everything. At 21 years old. And here's the kicker. Here's why I get so excited about Moses Itauma. He's 21, guys. When is the last time boxing has had a young heavyweight champ with his whole future in front of him? Not a heavyweight champ that just kind of slid on an opportunity or worked the politics. No, Itauma's fighting tough name after tough name at an early age, and he's doing what he has to do. Look, I'm going somewhere with this. We all know that as the heavyweight division goes, the sport goes. We all know that boxing's been hurting for a long time. I like to point at the Klitschko era. kind of that post Lennox Lewis, Holyfield, Tyson, all those guys. That Klitschko era slowed the damn thing down. Me personally, I'm not taking anything away from the Klitschko brothers, especially Vladimir. Vitaly was my favorite, but Vladimir, it was kind of boring to watch. I liked it. I like seeing dominating boxing, but at a heavyweight division, you want to see knockouts. You want to see back and forth. And those Klitschko's kind of started that overmatched heavyweight model that we've seen for the last 20 years, where it's just so rare where we licking our chops at a heavyweight matchup. It's so rare. It happens every now and then, but I feel like they started the slowdown of boxing. Enter Floyd Mayweather, and then that crazy undefeated record that he was marketing, that was all marketing. And I think a whole new group of boxing fans showed up that didn't know boxing before. All they knew was Floyd. So then that's kind of where this team mindset, I'm gonna support this one boxer, and it's him against the world. And I think that kind of led to that. What we see today, the fan bases where it's like, Tank versus everybody. And everybody else is sorry except for Tank. Devin Haney, everybody's sorry except for Devin. It kind of started this team sport mentality in an individual man sport. Started with the Klitschko's. Floyd Mayweather started marketing the undefeated record. It started attracting a new fan base. And then we got to where we were, where boxing's boring. Where do you find the fights? Nobody has them crazy heavyweight highlights no more. Moses Itauma is the guy. He's 21. He's very marketable. The world loves him, and he's got his whole future in front of him. He's knocking guys out. Guys that have never been knocked out. Whole future in front of him. Yeah, he's not American, but look, this is the age of social media. You don't necessarily have those same restrictions. Like, we don't know, we're not blind to what goes on overseas anymore. We can all cheer for the same things because of social media. So whatever that's going to look like, Itauma's superstardom, it's going to translate to the United States. He's going to get fights in Vegas. And if it turns into, man, I'm only watching because I want to see Itauma get beat. I hope an American beats him. However that looks, guys, we are on the verge of getting a young superstar heavyweight back in the fold whose whole future is in front of him. And from the looks of things, I don't know who's going to beat this guy as he continues to mature. He's only 21. Is he beatable? Sure. Have I seen it yet? Probably not, but he's going to hit. He's going to get there. He's going to get there. But, dude, he's looking fantastic. Now, let's not ignore Hrgovic. Got an Olympic pedigree, a big boy. He's been in there with Dubois, been in there with Zhang. He's okay with getting uncomfortable. So I think the question here is, I think my biggest question, because I'm Phil Thomas going to win this, and he might win early again. But what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't get a guy with experience that's rugged? What happens if Hrgovic is still standing there after 6 rounds? For me, that's the question this weekend. Because Moses Itauma passes the eye test. He passes all of those tests with flying colors. But what happens? We talked about Teofimo's adversity. It's something I look at a lot. And I'm not even considering adversity being not or getting hit this time. Sure, what happens if Itauma gets checked and them legs wobble? But I think mentally, for a 21-year-old guy, not getting rid of the guy in front of you, that's going to be its own form of adversity. It's going to be mental work. Man, I can't get rid of this guy. How is Moses Itauma going to handle that? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. This is his first time being scheduled for 12 rounds. I think I mentioned it. IBF straps on the line. Frank Sanchez was the mandatory, but he took some step-aside money, and I think they're promising him the winner of this fight. So it's now a title fight for the 21-year-old. He wins this. He's the youngest British heavyweight champ of all time. So, yeah, the big question for me for this fight, if it gets there, what does round 9 look like? What does round 10 look like? 11, 12? because we haven't seen it yet. It's uncharted territory. I like what I see from Itauma thus far. I see a smart man, IQ, thinking in there, setting up his shots, footwork. I see a man that's going to be just fine. I predict him to pass with flying colors if it goes that far. What happens if he stops Hrgovic in the first or second round? Then we are having different discussions. Then we are talking about this guy who's the IBF champ is a legit bona fide superstar. A superstar. And make sure I'm not leaving anything there. My pick for this weekend, I'm picking Itauma. I'm picking a fight that goes a little bit longer than what he's been going through. Hrgovic has a lot of pride. Hrgovic wants to show that he's still in the mix. But at the end of the day, we're talking skills, youth, and power. Man. And he dude's fast. He puts together punches. He's got speed. He's got it all. Got it all, in my opinion. And he's a southpaw. Sheesh, guys. Sheesh. Moses Itauma. Itauma. Please, if you're brand new or getting back into boxing, hook your trainer onto him. You got a good 10, 15 years left of dominance, in my opinion. Well, all right, guys. All right. It's time to announce where the hell we are going. Oh, we got a new Buckethead, too. So, what's up, Ramirez? What's up? I think they both get hurt. Interesting. I'm assuming you're talking about Itauma and Hrgovic. I can see it. I mean, that's what I just talked about. So if that does happen, I'm interested. Like, my biggest interest for that fight this weekend is how Moses responds to getting checked. And we'll see. 21-year-old is still a 21-year-old. I have a son who's about to turn 20 in 2 months. 2 months from, we're on the 23rd. And he's still my baby boy. You know, I can't see him making these crazy grown man decisions, especially when he's facing adversity. So how does that young 21-year-old mind respond to getting shook for the first time in his professional career? I can't wait to see it. My money is on Itauma, passing all of the all of the tests with flying colors. But we'll check it out. Shout out to Ryan from the 6, man. What's up, brother? I was just checking you out with Joshua on. But y'all shout out to Ryan from the 6. Awesome YouTube channel and doing his thing on X now. Appreciate you chiming in, brother. And like the man said, smash the like button. It takes no effort from you, just a minimal effort. Appreciate the reminder, homie. But look, guys, we are about to announce our next winner. Or no, not our next winner, our next location, our next ticket. Before we do that, shout out to KO Tickets. Makes this possible. For all of your boxing ticket needs, just text Jim. You don't got to go and set up an account, a Ticketmaster account. You can do nothing. He's been in the game since 1999, so you ain't getting no sketchy dude. Just text him, ask him what he's got available. I'll be posting his availability as well, and he'll get you in the door. He had cheap tickets, way cheaper than Ticketmaster, way cheaper than AXS this weekend for Rolly and Teofimo. So y'all be sure to hit him up. And big thank you to you, Jim, because he's making this Buckethead giveaway possible. So shout out to KO Tickets. Before we do that, let me just throw this video up so you guys don't forget that this is actually real stuff. Hold on, where to go? Here it is. This is our first winner.
Shout out to Mike Ramirez, who is the first winner of the TSB quarterly Buckethead Award. Hey, let me see that deal you have made, bro. He's actually roaming around the damn arena, but he made this. Check it out. There was up to Mike Ramirez. Hey, show off the shirt too. Show off the shirt. This is what being an ultimate Buckethead does. Free merch, free ticket. The dude just wandering around the building as if he owns the place. Appreciate you, Mike. I really appreciate you, man.
Man, that's one of my favorite videos. Shout out to Mike. Damn, I don't have my Trevor video or my Trevor. My bad. So I meant to post another picture of my second winner. So Mike won for Xander versus Boots. The second winner was Trevor Jung. Trevor won the Clarissa Shields K. Scott tickets. But there's no video of it, but I do have a photo of him. But I did not put it up here, and I'm not going to take the time to do it. But now, guys, without further ado, I have a drum roll in there, but I don't have them labeled, so my bad. Without further ado, our next fight that we are doing our quarterly giveaway for, and I'm going to throw up the T-shirt graphic because we're doing it for the same shirt, the same fight. October 24th, San Antonio, Texas. O'Shaquie Foster, Emmanuel Navarrete unify their 3 belts. This is 3 belts on the line in San Antonio, Texas. Damn near undisputed. But the 130-pound division against these 2 guys is going to be a movie. Fireworks. The vibes are going to be popping. And why you had to go and get a shirt? Here's a shirt. There's a shirt there. You can get it at spitbucket.com. Check out the shop there. It's right up there at the top. But you can get this for free if you become a Buckethead Pro. You'll get this for free. We'll send it out to you. You don't have to pay anything, and you'll get one of these every 3 months. The last one was a cool Atlanta one for Clarissa Shield. I'll show you what that one looked like. And she wore it, so it's on the pictures. You go check out the Spit Bucket podcast or the spitbucket.com. And now you'll be getting this shirt. So, merch, ticket giveaways. This fight is going to, like, it's got everything, guys. It's a Mexico Mexican, not a Mexican American, against the Black American. That automatically is going to be fired up. You put that scene in San Antonio, my oh my. Shock is from Houston, so his team is going to make the trip. There's a lot of O'Shaquie Foster fans here. This fight you got to get to. So if you're not going to become a Buckethead and try to win it, just text Jim. Just text Jim. But these tickets are going to be fire. This place is going to be a sellout. The vibes are going to be great. And we got a tentative pre-fight party that we're working on. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a nice little get-together, a nice party in San Antonio before the fight. Likely somewhere around the Riverwalk. You get to the fight pretty quick. Is at Frost Bank Center. But that's the game plan. One more time, if you're watching not on YouTube, you can become a member just by scanning the QR code. It'll take you straight to the memberships page. Or if you're on YouTube right now and watching, just become a member directly from here. That's where it all funnels through. Guys, I can't be offering Navarrete Foster tickets without talking about the fight. So I'll give a real quick overview. But man, oh man, like this is the ultimate chaos versus control fight. This is especially that last Navarrete that we saw. That dude who's working on his conditioning and his diet and he's got a nutritionist, that man is a pound-for-pound fighter. O'Shaquie Foster continues to prove the doubters wrong. Continues to he fights with a chip on his shoulder. And whether he's fighting Mexico and the cards are stacked against him and he's getting rid of somebody in the 12th round, like the dude comes through and gets the job done. O'Shaquie Foster, in my opinion, could be up for Fighter of the Year discussions if he gets through Navarrete. With what he did with Ray Foster, and then even closing out the year, he wasn't in many discussions last year, but I like considering late December fights for Fight of the Year because a lot of the awards are done mid-December. But Shock with Fulton last year to close out the year looked incredible. So Shock Foster got the goods. He's got all of it, man. Just the technique, the distance, the discipline, the control, counterpunching, all of it. And with Navarrete, obviously the volume, the awkward style, just absolute weird rhythm. It's a rhythm for sure. It's an unorthodox rhythm. The pressure, the punches coming from a million different angles. You asked me 2 years ago, I wasn't a fan of what Navarrete did because just technically, it wasn't technically sound. And I'm one of those boring guys that likes to see a technically sound fighter. Well, I never picked Rolly Romero to win a fight. But Navarrete makes it work. And especially now that he's got some science behind him. And he's not just going on there cutting weight and the traditional way. He's got science behind him. I don't know if Foster can do enough to make Navarrete predictable. This by no means is my fight pick. This is just me telling y'all the first thoughts that come to mind. I think Foster has to make Navarrete predictable because at that point, the X's and O's wins. When you get your guys controlled and you know what to expect and you can use your IQ and your vision, if he can make Navarrete predictable with the distance, with all of it, with the counters, the movement, the footwork, it could be a good fight. I know Shock is a smart man. I know he's going to be prepared for an absolute hurricane. I trust Shock. I trust Shock to prep for this fight. So can Foster stay disciplined for 12 rounds? I think he can. I really do think he can. You fighting with that chip on his shoulder, it constantly feels like he's trying to prove something to somebody. I dig it. I dig this fight. It's fascinating. It's exciting. It's for 3 belts. It's in Texas. It's got the rivalries, the built-in rivalries. This fight is going to be a thing of beauty. It's going to be beautiful for boxing. It moves the sport forward, which we should always be looking for. So, with all that said, be sure y'all get y'all's memberships. Put your name in the bucket for a drawing. Get out there and enjoy the fights with us and be part of something big, man. Be part of something big. And check these comments. What's up, cousin? My cousin. What's up, Eddie? Appreciate you chiming in again, man. I always appreciate all the love, for real, dude. For real. Even though grandma and grandpa probably making you do it. I'm just kidding. Much love. Hey, guys, I'm running down, making sure we're good. I think that's about a wrap for me today. We did the giveaway. We talked about shitty judges. Preview for Itauma. Talked about Teofimo. All of that good stuff. I do want to make sure that the people get the idea that I'm not blasting Rolly Romero. When I look at Rolly Romero and I hear him talk and I hear his testimony, man, it's nothing but love for him. I see a man who has gone through so much and he's finding his way, and he just so happens to be a boxer who's got a name and lives in this world. I'm willing to bet if Rolly had it his way, he could do away with this world. And I have the feeling that we're going to start to see that from him. He's made his money. He's made way more money than he's ever imagined. So I have a feeling he's going to kind of start to chase his real calling. And that's whether that's preaching, whether that's connecting with kids, just talking about his life and that sort of deal. And now he's got the financial means to really impact people. So for all that, I'll give Rolly a big time salute. Just wasn't crazy about what he put together in the ring, man. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Oh, yeah. Yep. We'll touch on that next time, but Ramirez is right. We got a big Texas fight in San Antonio, and then Alicia Baumgartner moving up in weight against Alif Turhan. We just saw her in Arizona. Great fighter. Got some powerful shots. She's probably got the heaviest hands in women's boxing, so that's going to be interesting. That'll be here in Arlington. Obviously going to break that fight down a lot more in the coming weeks. So y'all be sure to check in for that one. Hell, just go San Antonio and come up to Dallas after that. But anyways, guys, that's our show. Just one last reminder, if you haven't already, please like this video, like this stream. If you're watching on other outlets that's not YouTube, leave a review, like this, share it, all that sort of stuff. Feel free to screen record something brilliant or ignorant that I said and post it and tag me. I would really appreciate it. Any love y'all give the Spit Bucket is truly appreciated, guys. With all that said, I'm not sure. Oh, no, we're coming back for one more. I think I'm not going to say anything again until I confirm the guest. But got a guest who should be fighting this weekend. A big title fight. So we'll see if I can get her on. But anyway, that's it for episode 136. Much love to everybody. Much love to the newest member, Juan Pena. Appreciate you jumping on board as our newest Buckethead. And yeah, that's a wrap. Until next time, guys, if I don't hear from y'all, if I can't get this next live stream scheduled, then I'll see y'all next week as we wrap up or as we close out Itauma's fight week. But I do anticipate getting back on. So I'll see y'all later this week. But for episode 136, that's a wrap. You guys have a great night. Talk to y'all soon. This life is a fight. What are you focused on? there will be doubt. Pain, it's inevitable. But when that bell rings, will you be ready?